I-75. It's between 75 and South 4. An accident, no injuries, but the left lane is blocked. A significant backup there on 24 westbound right now, Russell. Ringgold Road and East Bridge to South Seminole with injuries. Westside Drive and Elder Street, more injuries there this morning. Entrapment on Dolly Pond Road at Falcon Crest. The 58th Volunteer Fire Department and the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office both on the scene of that one right now. Mike Wood from the Traffic Center. Good morning. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
51 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and it's going to get up to 67 degrees for our high today, 41 for the low. Partly cloudy. We are expecting a little bit of rain later on, just a few hours now, actually. Today's going to be feeling about the same as yesterday, so you're going to be wanting a light jacket, especially if you're going to be walking downtown across the Walnut Street Bridge. I know how windy it gets, so you might be wanting a light jacket of some sort just so you're a little bit more comfortable. You can always take it off. Tuesday, 66 for the high, 43 for the low, and clear. Wednesday, 72 for the high. Going to get a little bit of rain later on today. Wednesday, not too much. Mostly that's going to be happening on Thursday with a high of 76, low 56. But we are expecting quite a bit of rain on Thursday. Thunderstorms expected on Thursday, so be cautious of that. Friday through Saturday going to be okay. Actually, Friday through Sunday going to be okay. Some rain expected Friday morning, but otherwise going to be really nice. Highs in the 70s and the 60s, lows in the 40s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This weekend's going to be a nice weekend. That rain, though, is what we're really keeping an eye on. And again, there is going to be some rain later on today that we're keeping an eye on, too. That should be rolling in about an hour from now. A very small amount of rain. You might not even get it, but we are seeing some chance of rain happening in higher elevations. Very small spots of it here and there, so it's not really worth worrying about. Just letting you know that it could happen. Looking at the news now, there was a 50-mile police chase after a robbery happened in Dalton. That police chase happened on I-75. A robbery suspect escaped from police. The Georgia State Patrol was chasing after a man who stole a newspaper delivery vehicle at a gas station in Cartersville. Actually, is where the chase started. It ended in Dalton. The GSP say that he then led troopers on a 3-county, 50-mile-long chase that ended when the suspect flipped his car on 75 northbound at the Dalton exit. The GSP says that a trooper did a pit maneuver to stop the vehicle. The suspect was then taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and no troopers were injured in the chase. That's just coming in. Apparently, this happened sometime in the morning, Monday. So probably just a few minutes ago, that ended, that 50-mile chase in Dalton. Of course, they deliver papers pretty early, so it's feasible that this could have started sometime an hour ago and then just ended now. We'll keep you updated, though, if any more details come out about this protracted police chase from Cartersville all the way up to Dalton, ending in the car being flipped over. And there's still a Tennessee child endangerment alert now for a 17-year-old girl who has a slight mental handicap, putting her at the level of a 12-year-old, according to the reports. She's a white female. Her name is Natalie Paige Cox. That's C-O-X. She has blue eyes, white female, 5'7", brown hair, weighs about 130 pounds. And she was last seen wearing a black leggings and a white T-shirt. Her nose is pierced on the left side. That's her left, not yours. Police say that Natalie has a mild mental handicap and functions at the level of a 12-year-old. She left on foot from her residence at 11:30. If you've seen her, please call the East Ridge Police at 423-622-1725 and the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND if you happen to have any information about Natalie Paige Cox, who has gone missing. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio. Make sure you go to Pound's Gym in Saudi Daisy. $20 a month for membership. You can't beat it. Locally owned and operated. Go to lbs.fit for more info and a virtual tour.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Swargene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
MLS 2239. What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here, Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. MLS 2239. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Good Monday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 28th day of March. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning. Officials now say 4 people who died in the Brussels attacks were Americans. The latest death confirmed by the State Department Sunday. Earlier, the White House said President Obama phoned the parents of Justin and Stephanie Schultz. They've been identified, obviously, the American couple among the dead in last week's attacks. The president also offered his thoughts and prayers to the families of victims during his weekly address. He also gave an update on the fight against ISIS.
As we move forward in this fight, we have to wield another weapon alongside our airstrikes, our military, and our counterterrorism work, and our diplomacy. And that's the power of our example. Our openness to refugees fleeing ISIL's violence, our determination to win the battle against ISIL's hateful and violent propaganda, a distorted view of Islam that aims to radicalize young Muslims to their cause. In that effort, our most important partners are American Muslims. That's why we have to reject any attempt to stigmatize Muslim Americans and their enormous contributions to our country and our way of life. Such attempts are contrary to our character, to our values, and to our history as a nation built around the idea of religious freedom. It's also counterproductive. It plays right into the hands of terrorists who want to turn us against one another, who need a reason to recruit more people to their hateful cause. I'm a father, and just like any other parent, the awful images from Brussels draw my thoughts to my own children's safety. That's also why you should be confident that defeating ISIL remains our top military, intelligence, and national security priority. We will succeed. The terrorists will fail. They want us to abandon our values and our way of life. We will not.
Meanwhile, Syrian forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad have reclaimed the ancient city of Palmyra. Military officials say bomb squads right now are working on removing mines and bombs planted by ISIS. They say they're spread across areas, including residential areas, as well as the historic quarter that's home to some of the Mideast's most valuable archaeological relics. Syrian troops and pro-government militiamen captured Palmyra Sunday under the cover of Russian airstrikes. It ended the 10-month control of the town. During its rule, ISIS killed scores of people and destroyed invaluable artifacts dating back more than 1,800 years, along with a famed Roman famed Roman structure as well. So ISIS is now facing pressure on several fronts. Kurdish forces, ground forces, they are advancing on territory in Syria's north. And the Pentagon says international airstrikes in recent weeks have pounded ISIS territory, killing 2 top leaders. General Joseph Dunford.
You know, we talk about momentum, and I think it's indisputable, whether it be the amount of ground that that ISIL holds, the resources. We've made a dent in the resources. We've started to affect their command and control in a negative way. I think we've begun to undermine the narrative. But there's a lot of work that remains to be done. And at the same time, while ISIL has not been able to seize ground in the past several months, that hasn't precluded them from conducting terrorist attacks, and it hasn't precluded them from conducting operations that are more akin to guerrilla operations operations than the conventional operations that we saw when they were seizing territory. So I think the momentum is in our favor. I think there's a lot of reasons for us to be optimistic about the next several months, but by no means would I say that we're about to break the back of ISIL or that the fight is over.
In neighboring Iraq, government forces backed by the U.S. and Iran are getting ready for a ground offensive to retake Mosul from ISIS. Senator Bernie Sanders says he likes George Clooney as an actor, but his high-priced fundraisers for Hillary Clinton are despicable. Sanders says the price tag to attend is what's wrong with politics.
It is obscene that Secretary Clinton keeps going to big money people to fund her campaign. But it's not only this Clooney event. It is the fact that she has now raised well over $15 million from Wall Street for her super PAC and millions more from the fossil fuel industry and from the drug companies. We have, on the other hand, received 6 million individual campaign contributions, a record number in American history, averaging $27 apiece. So I think what we are trying to do is run a campaign to paraphrase Abraham Lincoln, of the people, by the people, and for the people, not just reaching out to billionaires and the wealthiest people in this country. That is really a cancer on American politics. We've got to overturn this disastrous Citizens United.
But do you think that comparing George Clooney, who in addition to his film work also does a lot of humanitarian work, has brought a lot of attention to genocide in Africa, do you really think that that's comparable to the Wall Street investment banker types that you regularly back?
Look, the point is, I have a lot of respect for George Clooney. He's a great actor. I like him. But this is the point. This is the problem with American politics, is that big money is dominating our political system.
Sanders making the comments to CNN's Jake Tapper. Clinton is asking donors for $353,400 for 2 seats at the head of the table with herself, Clooney, and wife Amal at the April 15th event in San Francisco. A day later, the Clooneys will host a $33,400 per person fundraiser for Clinton at the couple's Los Angeles home. On the other side of the aisle, GOP candidate Ted Cruz continues to maintain he's not responsible for a super PAC ad featuring Melania Trump. Cruz also went after Trump on Sunday over allegations from a National Enquirer story about his alleged affairs.
It is tabloid smear, and it came from Donald Trump and his henchmen. The only person quoted on the record there is Roger Stone, the chief political advisor to Donald Trump. And this is the kind of lies and sleaze. They did have a parting of ways. They did have a parting of ways. So we don't know exactly what the relationship is. But yes, he has been linked with Mr. Trump. But Shannon, they haven't had the parting of ways. Roger Stone remains the henchman, the hatchet man, the enforcer for Donald Trump. He's pushing these attacks. And by the way, he's been pushing them for many, many months online. These are complete made-up lies. They're garbage. But, it's indicative of just how low Donald Trump will go. Okay, but I want to make sure that we include what his response was on whether he's linked to this or not. In a Facebook posting on Friday, he said, I have no idea whether or not the cover story about Ted Cruz in this week's issue of the National Enquirer is true or not, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it, did not know about it, and have not as yet read it. Well, look, that's very convenient to say, except the article quotes Roger Stone, who organized and planned Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And I'll note, David Pecker, the CEO of National Enquirer, is a close friend of Donald Trump. The National Enquirer has endorsed Donald Trump for president. And this entire campaign, they've done two things. One, they praise Donald Trump at every turn. And two, they spread lies and smears and attacks on every one of his opponents. And this is garbage.
Cruz making the comments to Fox's Shannon Bream. Trump denies being behind the story. Trump on Sunday did not condemn the story, saying he doesn't care. He says he hopes the story isn't true. If you're traveling and cannot find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. We are also on the TalkStream Live mobile app. Just download that from your mobile device's app store. You can always reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook at Matt Ray Talk. Our producer is David Milligan. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio Five Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Enter your guesses now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, Route 153 in Hickson. Then listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Five Guys Burgers and Fries and Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
The death toll rises in Brussels. 3 suspects are in custody.
Charged with taking part in terrorist activities.
70 dead, hundreds injured after an Easter bombing in Pakistan.
The suicide bomber deliberately targeting Christians.
A $15 an hour minimum wage deal in California
will be very helpful in moving people out of poverty.
Good morning. I'm Peter King with the CBS World News Roundup. Belgian officials have revised the death toll from last week's attacks, and 3 men have been arrested on terrorism charges. But what's not clear right now is if the arrests are related to the attacks. CBS's Alan Pizzi is in Brussels.
The latest raids add to a growing body of evidence that the Brussels and Paris bombings were carried out by a Europe-wide network of terrorist cells that the security forces are only just beginning to figure out. Tests will be carried out tomorrow on the airport structure and passenger areas to determine whether it's safe to open the facility. But the police are threatening to go on strike on Wednesday at the airport over security issues.
CBS's Elaine Cobb reports that officials have raised the death toll to 35.
Belgium's health ministry says that does not include the 3 suicide bombers. 4 Americans are confirmed among the dead. 2 have now been named as Justin and Stephanie Schultz. They were killed at the airport where they were seeing her mother onto a plane. President Obama called their parents Sunday to express his condolences.
These developments come after a turbulent weekend. Hundreds gathered in Brussels to honor the victims, but they were met by outside right-wing demonstrators, and the rally turned violent. CBS's Vladimir Duthier.
Hundreds of people, most of them dressed in black, showed up, many of them making Nazi salutes, Nazi signs, shouting in French, "We are here, we are at home," meaning to sort of say that this is their land, this is their country. Some of them appeared to us to be drinking alcohol. Police had to move in, riot police moved in some cases using water cannon to get the situation under control.
Pakistan says it's launched a paramilitary crackdown in Punjab province a day after a suicide bomber killed at least 70 people and injured more than 300 during a family Easter celebration in the city of Lahore. A rescue worker describes the scene through an interpreter.
I carried 20 children to be taken to hospital. I moved 3 bodies to a police car. At the time of the blast, the children were taking rides at the fairground.
Terrorism expert Ahmed Rashid says the bombers knew exactly what they were doing.
The bomber actually exploded his device literally in the middle of a playground. And this park is very famous for having the most swings and slides for children.
A breakaway Taliban faction called Jamaat-ul-Ahrar says it targeted Pakistan's Christian community. Most of those killed were Muslim. Now to the presidential campaign, where Bernie Sanders swept 3 Democratic caucuses over the weekend, but still remains far behind Hillary Clinton. Republicans Donald Trump and Ted Cruz continue to attack each other about their wives, things said. And America's top diplomat says other countries are watching and wondering.
Every leader I meet, they ask about what is happening in America. They cannot believe it.
Secretary of State John Kerry on Face the Nation.
They're shocked. They don't know where it's taking the United States of America. It upsets people's sense of equilibrium about our steadiness, about our reliability.
And About Face means a controversial documentary on vaccines and autism will not be shown at Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival. We get more on that from CBS's Vicki Barker.
My oldest son, Ian, was walking and running. After the vaccine, he was no longer able to do that.
Vaxxed was made by Andrew Wakefield. He lost his medical license in Britain after his research linking autism to the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine was discredited. De Niro has an autistic child and had said he wanted to spark constructive dialogue. But after hearing from medical experts, he says he now believes this isn't the film to do that. The filmmakers accused De Niro of caving in to corporate interests. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
It's 4 minutes after the hour.
Listen to the news right now in your car with the CBS Radio News app. Just download our free app to your iOS or Android device to stream the news you need on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Listen to the latest news right now or to your favorites like Face the Nation and the Weekend Roundup. The CBS Radio News app. Download it on your phone now to use in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto today.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone. And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your home.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Hot News Talk 1240. Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Live from coast to coast, America's morning news is on the air. All the breaking news you need is right here. And now, the host of America's morning news, Matt Ray.
Good Monday morning, 6 minutes past the hour. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 28th day of March. Here's what we're following today.
Is a story that quoted one source on the record, Roger Stone, Donald Trump's chief political advisor.
I have no control over the National Enquirer. I didn't even know about the story. I just got it last night.
The increasingly personal battle for the GOP nomination escalates.
We would like to invite citizens to not demonstrate tomorrow, but to understand that it is necessary to postpone the demonstration by a few weeks.
Protesters in Brussels ignore safety warnings, disrupting a memorial site.
They've been pretty good all year, but they're playing their best right now, and they made a comeback for the ages today.
Number 10, Syracuse mounts an incredible comeback, advancing to the Final Four. We're crossing the nation and sweeping the globe to bring you all of today's top stories. And we start with 5 things to know on this Monday morning. Officials now say 4 people who died in the attacks in Brussels were Americans. The latest deaths confirmed by the State Department on Sunday. Officials did not identify them. Earlier, the White House said President Obama reached out to the parents of Justin and Stephanie Schultz, an American couple identified as among the dead in last week's attacks. A breakaway Pakistani faction of the Taliban has claimed responsibility for a bombing Sunday that killed 70 people gathered in a park in Lahore. The park was crowded with Christians, mostly women and children, on Easter Sunday. The dead include many children. The blast happened near children's rides. Syrian government soldiers have reclaimed the ancient city of Palmyra from ISIS. ISIS is now facing pressure on several fronts in the Middle East as Kurdish ground forces advanced on its territory in Syria's north. Meanwhile, the Pentagon says airstrikes in recent weeks have pounded ISIS, killing 2 top leaders. And in neighboring Iraq, government forces backed by the U.S. and Iran are getting ready for a ground offensive to retake from ISIS, the country's second largest city, Mosul. Well, Kryptonite may be bad for Superman, but lousy ratings aren't. Reviews, I should say. That's clear from this weekend's box office. It shows that the superhero face-off Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, took in a massive $170 million in North America, the 6th best opening weekend of all time. Marketers had to deal with skepticism over Ben Affleck's casting as Batman and a barrage of bad reviews earlier in the week. And the Final Four in men's college basketball have been chosen. North Carolina, Syracuse, Oklahoma, and Villanova will be battling for the NCAA championship. The first games are set for Saturday night. Oklahoma takes on Nova. That's followed by a classic matchup, North Carolina taking on Syracuse. This will be North Carolina's 19th Final Four appearance. In your news this morning, the Brussels Square, that's been a memorial site, was disturbed Sunday when black-clad men started shouting slogans and carrying a banner with an expletive against ISIS. The anti-ISIS rally came despite government appeals not to hold the March Against Fear Sunday in Brussels since security forces were stretched too thin.
Nous voulons inviter les citoyens.
We would like to invite citizens to not demonstrate tomorrow, but to understand that it is necessary to postpone the demonstration by a few weeks.
Dans quelques semaines. Nous partageons bien sûr.
We share the emotion of the population, and today we ask everyone to let the various services continue their work, and that the demonstration that many people, including us, want to participate in be postponed by a few weeks.
Beaucoup, y compris d'entre nous, souhaitent participer, soit reporté dans quelques semaines.
That audio courtesy of AFP. Hundreds of people were remembering the 31 victims of Tuesday's attacks when dozens of men barged to the center and then mounted the steps of the stock exchange building. They were hit with a water cannon from riot squads. Well, the increasingly bitter personal battle for the GOP presidential nomination between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz escalating when Cruz accused Trump and his henchmen of stoking false rumors that he's cheated on his wife. Cruz forcefully denied the rumors about him on Friday.
Is a story that quoted one source on the record, Roger Stone, Donald Trump's chief political advisor. Let me be clear, this National Enquirer story is garbage. It is complete and utter lies. It is a tabloid smear. And it is a smear that has come from Donald Trump and his henchmen. And I would note that Mr. Stone is a man who has 50 years of dirty tricks behind him. He's a man for whom a term was coined for copulating with a rodent. Well, let me be clear. Donald Trump may be a rat, but I have no desire to copulate with him. And this garbage does not belong in politics.
Asked if he plans to vote for Trump should he win the nomination, Cruz said, quote, "I don't make a habit of supporting people who attack my wife and my family." And that was on Friday. The two went at it again on Sunday over the Sunday talk shows. We'll have more on that coming up right here on America's Morning News. If you're traveling and can't find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. We're also on the TalkStream Live mobile app. Just download that from your mobile device's app store. You can always reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook at Matt Ray Talk. Use the hashtag AMN. If you don't have social media, you can always reach out to me at mattraytalk.com. More breaking news on the way on this Monday morning. This hour of America's Morning News brought to you by Money Metals Exchange, America's #1 gold and silver dealer, moneymetals.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:12. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Russell, I appreciate that, and good morning. First of all, 24 westbound at East Ridge, right at South Germantown Road. No injuries. TDOT there helping out now. They've got everything moved to the shoulder. Entrapment earlier, Dolly Pond and Falcon Crest. The 58 Volunteer Fire Department remains on the scene, as do the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office this morning as well. Again, entrapment on that one. that one. Acumen Polygraph specializes in polygraph exams and background checks for anybody needing investigative support. Same-day results, free consultation. Phone 355-5396. AcumenPolygraph.com. Good morning, Mike Wood in the traffic center here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
51 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center, and it's going to get all the way up to 67 by the end of the day. That doesn't sound very warm, I know, but hey, it's better than 40s for our highs, which we were getting just last month. Not bad at all. 41 for the low today. Tuesday, 66 for the high, 43 for the low, and clear up until Wednesday night, where we'll be getting some rain Wednesday night. Highs in the 70s Wednesday and Thursday, Friday too. Lows in the 50s. Saturday through Monday is going to be pretty nice, actually. 60s for the highs and then 70s by Monday of next week. Now, Thursday, there is rain coming in, so be cautious of that. Thursday, 76 for the high, 56 for the low. Thunderstorms are expected to roll in on Thursday, so be very cautious if you're going to be driving. Last thing we want is for anyone to get injured while driving, so use extreme caution when driving during these thunderstorms that we are supposed to be getting on Thursday. Be very careful. We'll keep you updated and keep it tuned to Hot News Talk Radio. Looking at the news now, East Tennessee child endangerment alert is still ongoing for a 17-year-old Natalie Page Cox. That's C-O-X for the last name. Natalie is a white female, blue eyes, brown hair, 5'7", weighs about 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing black leggings and a white T-shirt. Her nose is pierced on the left side. That's her left. Police say that Natalie has a mild mental handicap and functions at the level of a 12-year-old. She left on foot from her residence at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you've seen her, you're asked to contact the East Ridge Police Department at 423-622-1725 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FIND if you happen to see her. And again, her photo's been posted on the CPD's website, on the CPD and the East Ridge Police Department's Facebook pages, respectively. So check those out for a photo of Natalie Cox. And again, she is reportedly missing. We'll keep you updated, of course, on that search. There's a 50-mile-long police chase that the Georgia State Patrol engaged in, going all the way from Cartersville up to Dalton, just a few miles from here. According to the GSP, a man stole a newspaper delivery vehicle at a gas station in Cartersville and then took off, leading the police on a 50-mile chase. GSP was called in. They did a pit maneuver where they sort of run into the rear left side of your bumper, sort of to push you over, using physics to make you spin around so you stop your car. They did a pit maneuver, but it looks like it backfired a little bit. The car flipped on its top, and the man inside was injured very slightly. He's been taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Not clear if any bones were broken. No troopers were injured in this chase, so that's good to hear. But we'll keep you updated on the continuance of this happenstance. We don't quite know why he stole. According to the police, he stole a newspaper delivery truck. We don't really know why he did that, but we'll keep you updated again on that story. Make sure you go to the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone. That's TuneIn Radio on your smartphone. Search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you can listen to us streaming live to your smartphone. Get the Bloom Sky app for your smartphone. You can also watch the weather live. Go to Bloom Sky, watch the weather live on your phone. Just search for Chattanooga, and you'll see our weather station. Make sure you go to Pounds Gym. Go to lbsgym.fit for more information and a virtual tour. Locally owned and operated right there in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. That's Pounds Gym. Go to lbsgym.fit for more info and a virtual tour. $20 a month membership. You can't beat it. It's going on in the Tennessee Valley. It's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Swarteen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. Hot News Talk 1240.
70% off Rick Davis total door sale. Gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis pays you cash personally. Cash, and more cash. Rick Davis has got the cash and incredible deals at 70% off gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis on Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. 70% off Rick Davis total door sale. Gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis pays you cash personally. Rick Davis on Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, and more cash.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
.com.
You're listening to America's Morning News.
Good Monday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 28th day of March. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning. Officials now saying 4 people who died in the attacks in Brussels were Americans. The latest deaths confirmed Sunday by the State Department. Officials did not identify them. Earlier, the White House said President Obama telephoned the parents of Justin and Stephanie Schultz, an American couple identified as among the dead in last week's attack. The president also offered his thoughts and prayers to families of the victims during his weekly address, in which he also gave an update on the fight against ISIS.
As we move forward in this fight, we have to wield another weapon alongside our airstrikes, our military, and our counterterrorism work, and our diplomacy. And that's the power of our example. Our openness to refugees fleeing ISIL's violence, our determination to win the battle against ISIL's hateful and violent propaganda, a distorted view of Islam that aims to radicalize young Muslims to their cause. In that effort, our most important partners are American Muslims. That's why we have to reject any attempt to stigmatize Muslim Americans and their enormous contributions to our country and our way of life. Such attempts are contrary to our character, to our values, and to our history as a nation built around the idea of religious freedom. It's also counterproductive. It plays right into the hands of terrorists who want to turn us against one another, who need a reason to recruit more people to their hateful cause. I'm a father, and just like any other parent, the awful images from Brussels draw my thoughts to my own children's safety. That's also why you should be confident that defeating ISIL remains our top military, intelligence, and national security priority. We will succeed. The terrorists will fail. They want us to abandon our values and our way of life. We will not.
And the president, the Pentagon, I should say, also saying earlier in the week, last week, that international airstrikes in recent weeks have pounded ISIS territory, killing at least 2 top leaders. Secretary of State John Kerry is defending the optics of President Obama's trip to Cuba while much of the world watched the carnage from last week's Brussels attacks. The president received criticism for doing the wave at a baseball game and dancing. Kerry says terrorists don't dictate the president's schedule.
The president was criticized for going to a baseball game in Cuba after the Brussels attacks, the tango in Argentina. What is your response to the critics who say those sticking with his schedule was discordant when there was this happening?
My response is to quote Charles Krauthammer, President of the United States' schedule is not set by terrorists. The President of the United States has major diplomatic responsibilities. He has to engage with other countries. That was an important part of trying to build a relationship and achieve some of our goals with respect to human rights, with respect to transformation in Syria, in Cuba, and elsewhere. And I think the president, life doesn't stop because one terrible incident takes place in one place. The president responded to it. He talked to the prime minister of Belgium from Cuba. So I talked to the foreign minister from Cuba, and and an FBI team went to Belgium, is working with them now. We've been in direct contact every minute. So I don't think the president lost one tick. On the contrary, he continued what he had to do to engage in the diplomacy that had been pre-decided on.
Audio courtesy of CBS Face the Nation. A Frenchman's been taken into custody in Rotterdam, Netherlands on suspicion of being involved of planning a terror attack. The 32-year-old was arrested Sunday at the request of French authorities. Nearby residents were evacuated as police carried out the raid, taking 3 other men into custody. On the finance front, a new survey of business economists is predicting Americans are being cautious with a lot of the money that they're saving with the low gasoline prices. The National Association for Business Economics survey says that money is thought to be going to savings or to pay down debt. The economists are also less optimistic about growth this year, predicting a 2.2% increase rather than 2.6%. California lawmakers and labor unions have reached an agreement that will take the state's minimum wage from $10 to $15 an hour. State Senator Mark Leno said Saturday that the deal's been reached. The proposal goes before the legislature as part of his minimum wage bill that stalled last year. Leno said the deal would avoid taking the issue to the ballot. One union-backed initiative is already qualified for California's November ballot, and a second competing measure is also trying to. Leno didn't confirm specifics, but most proposals have the wage increasing about $1 a year until it reaches $15 per hour. At $10 an hour, California already has one of the highest minimum wages in the nation. A hike to $15 would make it the highest by far, though raises are in the works in other states. GOP presidential candidate Ted Cruz ripping fellow candidate Donald Trump over his attacks on his wife Heidi and allegations of affairs in the National Enquirer. Cruz calls the Super PAC ad featuring a picture of Melania Trump disgraceful, but he says he's not behind it.
Not remotely. It was a group. I don't know the person who's involved. As far as I know, I've never met them. I've never spoken to them. They're completely disconnected from our campaign. The ad they put out was deplorable. And as soon as I saw it, I denounced it and said it was wrong. But it wasn't us. You know what? There are a whole lot of people in America who disagree with Donald Trump. And he used that as an excuse. The fact that someone else who I don't know and have no involvement with used a deplorable ad. He used that as an excuse to go after my wife, Heidi, to go after my family, to attack her directly. And not only did he threaten her directly, but then the next day he sent a really nasty tweet juxtaposing a bad picture of Heidi with a good picture of his wife, and I guess bragging that his wife is so attractive. Listen, I have never once said any negative word about Melania or any member of his family. I don't intend to. Melania is a lovely woman. Everything I've seen, she seems to be a terrific mother. Attacking spouses and children is off limits. It has no place in politics. And sadly, what Donald has done when he gets scared, listen, particularly on foreign policy, Donald is out of his depth. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand these issues. One of the reasons he was so scared this week is this past week, Donald called publicly for effectively withdrawing America from NATO.
Cruz making the comments to Fox News' Shannon Bream. Trump told ABC's this week that he heard somebody had purchased the rights to use Melania Trump's picture and then gave it to the Super PAC ad. Cruz also addressed those allegations of affairs, calling them false and attributing that National Enquirer story to Trump. Trump denies that he's behind it. Speaking of Trump, he's a grandfather again. The Republican presidential frontrunner's daughter, Ivanka, has given birth to her third child, and with her husband, Jared Kushner, she announced the birth of her son, Theodore James, on Twitter Sunday, saying the family feels incredibly blessed. No word yet from the grandfather, the Donald. If you're traveling and cannot find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. We are also on the TalkStream Live mobile app. Just download that from your mobile device's app store. You can always reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook at Matt Ray Talk. Just use the hashtag AMN. More breaking news on the way on this Monday morning. It's March 28th. What a comeback for number 10 Syracuse yesterday. Syracuse advancing to the Final Four. More of that on the way. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
America's Morning News. America's Morning News. We'll be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:27. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Hey, Russell. Good morning. Appreciate that. 24 westbound and East Ridge right at South Germantown. Still working that. Everything over on the, on the shoulder on that one. Still working the Trapman, Valley Pond Road, and Falcon Crest Drive this morning as well. Checking TDOT. They're still on the thing there on 24 West on that one. But everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. Looking at the TDOT camera, 7524 looks good across the dam right now. It's in pretty good shape as well. Mike Wood, good morning from the Traffic Center. Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
50 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. That's going to get all the way up to 67 before the day is out. 41 for our low. Very small chance of rain. Higher elevations, mostly cloudy today. Going to have some problems with wetness on the roads possibly coming in, but everything otherwise should be pretty okay for today and tomorrow. That rain is going to dry up by tomorrow, too, with the sun being in full blast. Tomorrow, high 66, 43 for the low. Wednesday, 72 for the high, 58 for the low. Partly cloudy on Wednesday. Some rain expected later on, mostly around like midnight, 10 o'clock. Really late. Probably you won't be at work by that time. Thursday, 76 for the high, 56 for the low. Thunderstorms expected on Thursday, so be cautious of that. Again, thunderstorms on Thursday. Friday through Saturday, though, should be okay. Highs in the 70s and 60s, lows in the 40s and 50s. Not bad at all for our weekend coming up. But again, be cautious of Thursday with those thunderstorms coming in and possibly causing some problems for us here in the Tennessee Valley. We'll keep you updated, though. Go to the Bloom Sky app for regular weather updates. All you got to do is download the Bloom Sky app to your smartphone, add Chattanooga to your favorites, and we'll be bringing you updates to your smartphone straight from the Bloom Sky app, complete with a time-lapse of every week. You just can't beat it. Good stuff on the Bloom Sky app. Also get the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone, where you can listen to us streaming live to your smartphone. That's Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app. Well, you might remember the story about two Tennesseans who moved to Belgium and then went missing for several days. Well, it turns out now that they tragically died in the Belgian terrorist attacks that happened over the weekend, last weekend. Now, Senator Bob Corker has released a statement after those reports about Justin Schultz and his wife, Stephanie. They have been identified among those killed in the terrorist attacks in Brussels, Belgium, raising the American death toll to 4 so far as we can discern. Senator Corker, in part, said, "We are heartbroken by the tragic loss of Justin and Stephanie Schultz in the terror attacks in Brussels. To their family members and to all who love them, we offer our prayers and deepest sympathies as we mourn their passing. We also extend condolences to all of the families who lost loved ones and to the people of Belgium." Belgium is now, of course, under quite a lot of tension with anti-terror protests and anti-Muslim protests being clashed with pro-Muslim and pro-immigration protests all at the same time, some of which have gotten ever so slightly violent. We'll keep you updated, though, on the Belgian situation as it connects us to Tennessee. Tennessee is now connected to Belgium through that the death of those two individuals who moved to Belgium from Tennessee. Agents have arrested Elliot Wheezy Glass after the sale of a large amount of methamphetamine, according to federal agents. Glass was found to have 10 pounds of meth when he was arrested by agents after an arranged drug deal in Bradley County last Monday. The deal was for, get this, $56,000 worth of meth to be sold. It was delivered in a suitcase in the passenger side of a black truck. And when Glass tried to run, he was confronted by law enforcement. He was caught after a short distance. He also apparently had 2 ounces of MDMA on his person, according to the police report as well. MDMA is a common euphoria-inducing party drug, sometimes called ecstasy, when it's cut with other chemicals. If it's going on the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio. If you want to get fit, make sure you go to Pound's Gym in Saudi Daisy. That's lbsgym.fit for more information and a virtual tour. lbsgym.fit, locally owned and operated, $20 a month membership. You can't beat it. lbsgym.fit, more information and a virtual tour. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
In the middle of our street. Hi, Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at sabrinarealty.com.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. You're listening to America's Morning News.
Good Monday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 28th day of March, 34 minutes past the hour. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning.
Is a story that quoted one source on the record, Roger Stone, Donald Trump's chief political advisor.
I have no control over the National Enquirer. I didn't even know about the story. I just got it last night.
The increasingly personal battle for the GOP nomination escalates.
Nous voulons inviter les citoyens.
We would like to invite citizens to not demonstrate tomorrow, but to understand that it is necessary to postpone the demonstration by a few weeks.
Protesters in Brussels ignore safety warnings, disrupting a memorial site.
They've been pretty good all year, but they're playing their best right now, and they made a comeback for the ages today.
Number 10, Syracuse mounts an incredible comeback, advancing to the Final Four. We're crossing the nation and sweeping the globe to bring you all of today's top stories. And we start in the Middle East this morning. Syrian government soldiers reclaiming the ancient city of Palmyra from the Islamic State group. ISIS now facing pressure on several fronts as Kurdish ground forces advance on territory in Syria's north. The Pentagon says international strikes in recent weeks have pounded ISIS territory, killing two top leaders. Defense Secretary Ash Carter.
We continue to do more and more to bring the full weight of our vast military capabilities to bear in accelerating the defeat of ISIL. We are systematically eliminating ISIL's cabinet. Indeed, the U.S. military killed several key ISIL terrorists this week, including, we believe, Haji Iman, who was an ISIL leader, senior leader, serving as a finance minister, and who also is responsible for some external affairs and plots. He was a well-known terrorist within ISIL's ranks, dating back to its earliest iteration as al-Qaeda in Iraq, when he worked under Zarqawi as its liaison for operations with Pakistan.
In neighboring Iraq, government forces backed by the U.S. and Iran are getting ready for a ground offensive to retake from ISIS the country's second largest city of Mosul. A breakaway Pakistani faction of the Taliban has claimed responsibility for a bombing Sunday that's killed at least 70 people. They were gathered in a park in Lahore. It was crowded with Christians on Easter Sunday. The dead include many, many children. That blast happened near children's rides. Meanwhile, officials now say at least 4 Americans died in the Brussels attacks. The latest deaths confirmed Sunday by the State Department, though they were not identified. Earlier, the White House had said that President Obama had telephoned the parents of Justin and Stephanie Schultz, an American couple identified as among the dead in last week's attacks. Meanwhile, the death toll in Brussels has now risen to 35. That according to officials there. On the campaign trail, Senator Bernie Sanders says he likes George Clooney as an actor, but says Clooney's high-priced fundraisers for Hillary Clinton are despicable. He says the price tag to attend is what's wrong with politics.
It is obscene that Secretary Clinton keeps going to big money people to fund her campaign. But it's not only this Clooney event. It is the fact that she has now raised well over $15 million from Wall Street for her super PAC and millions more from the fossil fuel industry and from the drug companies. We have, on the other hand, received 6 million individual campaign contributions, a record number in American history, averaging $27 apiece. So I think what we are trying to do is run a campaign to paraphrase Abraham Lincoln, of the people, by the people, and for the people, not just reaching out to billionaires and the wealthiest people in this country. That is really a cancer on American politics. We've got to overturn this disastrous Citizens United.
But do you think that comparing George Clooney, who in addition to his film work also does a lot of humanitarian work, has brought a lot of attention to genocide in Africa, do you really think that that's comparable to the Wall Street investment banker types that you regularly bash?
Look, the point is, I have a lot of respect for George Clooney. He's a great actor. I like him. But this is the point. This is the problem with American politics, is that big money is dominating our political system.
Sanders making the comments to CNN's Jake Tapper. Clinton is asking donors for more than $353,000 for 2 seats at the head of the table with herself, Clooney, and his wife, Amal, at the April 15th event in San Francisco. The very next night, the Clooneys will host a $33,000 per person fundraiser for Clinton at the couple's Los Angeles home. On the other side of the aisle, GOP frontrunner Donald Trump says it's disgraceful for fellow candidate Ted Cruz to suggest the Trump campaign is behind a National Enquirer story alleging Cruz's infidelity. Trump on Sunday denied ties to it.
I had nothing to do with it. The campaign had absolutely nothing to do with it. He's got a problem with the National Enquirer. I have no control over the National Enquirer. I didn't even know about the story. I just got it last night. Somebody sent it to me over to read so I could at least see what it said. I had nothing to do whatsoever with the National Enquirer, and neither did the campaign. And I will tell you, for him to try and say that I had to do with it, to try and put the shoe on the other foot, is disgraceful. And by the way, he's the one that started it. And from what I hear, he and his campaign went out and bought the cover shoot. Melania did a cover shoot for GQ, a very strong modeling picture, no big deal, but it was a cover shoot for GQ, big magazine, and it was, fine. And from what I hear, somebody bought the rights to it, and he was the one, or his campaign bought the rights, and they gave it to the super PAC. And just so you understand, that super PAC is very friendly to Ted Cruz. He knew all about it 100%. So he started it. I didn't start it.
But let me ask you, this story, this that we see in the National Enquirer, this kind of rumor mongering, should this kind of thing just be off limits? Do you condemn this story?
I don't care. I mean, really, I don't care. The National Enquirer did a story. It was their story. It wasn't my story. It was about Ted Cruz. I have no idea whether it was right or not. They actually have a very good record of being right, but I have absolutely frankly, I said, I hope it's not.
Trump making the comments to ABC's Jonathan Karl. Cruz maintains he was not behind the super PAC ad that featured Melania Trump's photo. On the hardwood, wow, what a comeback. Syracuse unheralded as a number 10 seed in the Midwest region going to the Final Four. The Orange are the fourth double-digit seeded team in NCAA history to head to the Final Four, and the Cuse rose to the occasion in shocking fashion, to say the least. If you turned it off, you missed out. Syracuse trailed Virginia 54-39 midway through the second half before going on a 29-8 run in the final 9.5 minutes. During one stretch, the Cuse scored 15 straight points, the final 68-62 Syracuse. After the game, Coach Jim Boeheim said he said he's never been prouder of any team in his 40-year coaching career.
These guys didn't give up. They kept going. The press helped us, and Malachi, two freshmen made big plays. Malachi and Tyler lying down there made a couple unbelievable plays defensively. and they just wouldn't be denied. I mean, it was a shocking comeback. I've been a part of a few. This is probably as good, I think, as we've ever had. It's terrific.
I watched you in the closing seconds of this game. You were just sitting on the bench, calm, no celebration. What were you thinking about?
Well, once we won the game, so I was pretty much satisfied. I was happy. But I'm really happy for these guys. I mean, they've really come through a lot this year. And, you know, we've been pretty good all year, but they're playing their best right now. And they made a comeback for the ages today. Virginia's not a team that you can come back against very often. And they just made an unbelievable comeback. I'm so proud of them.
That audio courtesy of ESPN. Syracuse advances to take on North Carolina. Who? I know, right? North Carolina advancing. The Heels advanced by holding off Notre Dame 88-74. North Carolina is in the Final Four for a record 19th time, but the first time since the Heels won it all in 2009. The other two spots, Villanova and Oklahoma advance. More breaking news on the way on this Monday morning. America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
America's Morning News. America's Morning News. We'll be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Traffic and weather together at 8:44. Good morning, Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
Thanks, Russell. Good morning. Dolly Pond and Falcon Crest still working an earlier accident that we had there this morning. 75 north, but at Shalford Road. Got a broken down in the lane of traffic. TDOT getting him moved right now. It looks like everything else is in terrific shape. 75-24 looks good up and down the ridge cut. Looking great right now as well. Mike Wood, good morning from the Traffic Center. Of course, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
Still 50 degrees in Chattanooga from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Going to get up to 67 supposedly today, all the way down to 41 for our low overnight. Tuesday, 66 for the high, 43 for the low, and clear on Tuesday. Wednesday, 72 for the high, 58 for the low. Partly cloudy on Wednesday. Be careful of that. There could be some rain on Wednesday. Thursday, same story. Thunderstorms expected on Thursday, actually continuing out to the rest of that day. Thunderstorms from Thursday all the way through the day, going into Friday morning, too. Finally taking off at about 11 a.m. is when those will finally taper off on Friday. Saturday, 66 for the high, 40 for the low, and clear. Sunday, 69 for the high, 41 for the low, and clear on that day, too. So currently, right now, the high is 67, the low is 41, and that's not going to hit until about 5 o'clock this afternoon, this evening. So 5 o'clock this evening, we should start actually getting warmer temperatures, but it's going to be a while until then. Oh, well. Federal agents arrested Elliot Wheezy, the nickname Glass, for the sale of a large quantity of meth. Federal authorities arrested him on Monday. Glass was found to have 10 pounds of meth when he was arrested by agents after an arranged drug deal in Bradley County last Monday. An affidavit says that 2 weeks earlier, he had provided a confidential informant with 2 kilos of methamphetamine. Glass made 5 deliveries. It was stated the Glass called the CI and then offered this confidential informant and then offered to sell 5 kilos of meth for $56,000. The deal was arranged. Glass went to make the sale and was arrested. He was also found to have 2 ounces of MDMA on him, which is a euphoria-inducing party drug commonly found in clubs and such, real popular with the kids nowadays. Usually it's called ecstasy or Molly, but apparently he had some on his person, according to the police. Bob Corker, the senator from Tennessee, released a statement about the 2 Americans who were found, the 2 Americans who died in Brussels. Senator Corker released a statement about that, saying that we are heartbroken by the tragic loss of Justin and Stephanie Schultz in the terror attacks in Brussels. To their family members and to all who love them, we offer our prayers and deepest sympathies as we mourn their passing. We also extend condolences to all the families who lost loved ones and to the people of Belgium. And then he went on with that statement referencing Chattanooga and San Bernardino and other domestic terror attacks that we've had here in the United States. Catoosa County deputy was shot in the hand while apprehending a felon, or at least someone who had a felony arrest warrant out for him. A Catoosa County deputy was shot, though, in the hand during a scuffle for a handgun. The deputy was sent to the hospital. He's currently in stable condition. It's not clear if he'll be able to regain the use of his hand. The suspect is now in custody. We'll keep you updated on the condition of that deputy now in the hospital. We'll keep you updated on what happens. And again, there is a alert now for a child in danger in East Tennessee, in East Ridge. 17-year-old Natalie Page Cox apparently walked away from her home yesterday afternoon. She's 5'7", blue hair, brown eyes, weighs 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing black leggings and a white T-shirt. Her nose is pierced on her left side. If you've seen her, please call the East Ridge Police at 423-622-1725 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. If you want to get fit, make sure you go to Pounds Gym in Saudi Daisy. That's Pounds Gym in Saudi Daisy. Go to lbsgym.fit for more information and a virtual tour. Saudi Daisy's brand new gym. If it's going on in Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Swartz 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
MLS 2239. What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here, Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. MLS 2239. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Good Monday morning. This is America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks on this 28th day of March. I'm Matt Ray. Here's what we're following this morning. Taking a look at the numbers. Asian markets are rising today after Chinese industrial profits rebounded into positive territory. U.S. economic growth stronger than expected. Profit at major Chinese industrial firms rose 4.8% from a year earlier in the first 2 months of 2016. That's the first gain since September of 2014. That followed a more than 4% contraction in December. National Bureau of Statistics citing stronger sales and a slower decline in producer prices, which have contracted steadily for more than 3 years. The private sector outperforming government-owned companies. Washington reported that the U.S. economy grew by 1.25% in an annual rate in the final quarter of last year, above the 1% it estimated a month ago. The dollar gained against the yen. Benchmark U.S. crude rose, but remains under $40 a barrel. Let's bring in our expert, Chris Versace, joining us on this Monday morning. Hey, Chris, how are you on this Monday? Happy post-Easter, if you will.
Yes, happy Easter Monday to you, Matt, right?
Last week, Chris, the S&P 500 fell back into the red for the year. Take us through some of the factors that caused that.
Yeah, there were really two key factors, Matt. You know, it was a shortened week, only 4 days because of the Good Friday holiday here in the U.S. So the first 2 days, the market kind of went sideways, and all of a sudden we had these two factors that kind of hit at the same time. You remember that year to date, the stock market has been linked very closely to oil. Oil goes higher, stock market goes higher, oil goes lower, stock market starts to trend lower. Well, on Wednesday, the Energy Information Administration came out with a report that said the weekly build in oil inventories was far bigger than anybody had expected it to be. I mean, almost triple what people were thinking. And all of a sudden that said, too much oil prices are going to start to drift lower, too much supply. And that's exactly what happened. And then we had a second factor, which was that St. Louis Fed President Jim Bullard came out and he goes, even though we didn't just tighten interest rates at the Federal Reserve, there could be a rate hike coming as soon as April. And then all of a sudden we saw two things happen. The market started to focus in on this, said, a tightening, what does that mean? The market started to trend lower, and the dollar started to trend higher, because if we raise interest rates here relative to the cuts that we've gotten in China, in Sweden, in other markets, and the Eurozone, which, remember, really kicks off their big stimulative efforts later this week, that means the dollar is going to be stronger. That means that these currency headwinds we've had, Matt, relative to U.S. revenues, profits, and the ability to compete overseas, those headwinds are going to continue to be with us. Need to readjust our thinking, most likely lower. So all of these things weighed on the market, and it snapped the multi-week run that the market's had.
I'm hearing is a lot of commentary kind of snap this run. I know you're a data guy, but how does the average investor kind of cut through that commentary?
Well, I think the best way to think about it is, if you look really since, mid-February, the stock market ran about 10%, right? In as little as, 5 or 6 weeks. That's a huge, huge run. Anytime we see something like that, particularly if it happens to be on low volume relative to what we tend to see, low volume tends to be a signal that there's not a lot of conviction in the market move. I would tend to say, wow, we've had such a strong move. Time to be a little, patient, a little prudent, not necessarily jump right in, because things have moved very far, very fast. And from a data guy, when you start to look at the statistics that are out there, particularly metrics to value the market, they have jumped significantly. Some of them, like PD to growth, for example, the PEG ratio, we call it in the business, is at an all-time high. So, looking at that fast move relative to the metrics that we use to value the market, I would be very, very cautious here if I was a regular everyday investor. If I was a trader, I might be getting a little more aggressive, might making some negative bets on the market or some particular stocks.
All right. So looking ahead to this week's, some of the data points specifically you're looking at, also given that jobs report that we had on Friday, I know the number was more impressive, but we talk about it weekly. You got to really dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, especially this Friday, it's the all-important March employment report. But let me step back a second, Mark. What we're getting this week is the last pieces of data for March, which means now we can step back and look at the March quarter in total. And when we do that, we kind of see a couple things. One, GDP expectations for the quarter had kind of built up, but as we've gotten more data, they've kind of fallen now to only around 1.4%. I think that's going to weigh on some expectations for a lot of folks, both economists and for businesses. But in terms of specific data we're getting this week, today we get personal income and spending. We're a consumer-driven economy, so we want to see our people spending. We've seen a big pickup in the savings rate, but without a pronounced pickup in wages, we're not going to see a lot more spending, I think. And then later in the week, we get a lot of industrial data, ISM manufacturing. We get the global PMIs, so we'll also get a sense of how the overall global economy fared as we put all the puzzle pieces together, as I started to say, during the first quarter. So it's a kind of important week to really get a view on the entire quarter.
What do you make of the savings? Are people just socking it away? Are they paying down debt?
I think that people are stocking away what they can. The issue is that we've got people who are contending with not a lot of wage growth. They are seeing some inflation, not a lot of inflation, but they're not really spending what I call, Matt, these extra quote-unquote big gas savings. And I think that's because they're dealing with higher healthcare costs in some instances, maybe higher housing costs because rents have moved higher. So there's not a lot of savings relative to where it's been, say, from 1960 to 1995, when we were saving about 10% of our income. we're only saving a little over 5%. And to me, that says longer term, we're going to have this, saving/retirement crisis on our hands to deal with.
Sure. And Chris Versace here to guide us through it each week on America's Morning News. Chris Versace with the Growth Seeker and Trifecta portfolios at the Street. Hey, Chris, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for filling us in this morning. We appreciate it.
Anytime, Matt. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you again. If you're traveling and cannot find us in your area, we stream live at TalkStreamLive.com. We are also on the TalkStream Live mobile app. Just download that from your mobile device's app store. You can always reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook. I'm at Matt Ray Talk. Use the hashtag AMN. And if you can't find me on social media, not to worry. You can also find me at MattRayTalk.com. More breaking news on the way. Officials now say 4 people who died in the Brussels attacks were Americans. Along with that news, the death toll has risen as well. And more on that brutal, bloody attack in Pakistan over the weekend that targeted Christians on Easter. You've got America's Morning News, where the nation's news breaks.
America's Morning News. America's Morning News. We'll be right back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio Five Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Enter your guesses now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, Route 153 in Hickson. Then listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Five Guys Burgers and Fries and Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR. Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News, I'm Dan Raviv. The U.S. government says it now knows of 4 American citizens killed by the suicide bombers in Brussels last Tuesday, but the 2 new names are not being released, not yet. The president has phoned relatives of the young couple identified late last week. Live to CBS News, White House correspondent Pam Coulter.
In a call to the grieving parents, Dan, President Obama offered his deepest condolences and those of the nation and told them Justin and Stephanie Schultz epitomized all that was good about America. He said the couple's tragic deaths touched everyone's hearts and assured them the thoughts, prayers, and strength and resolve of the nation are with them. In his weekly address, he said U.S. officials are working with allies to root out ISIS operations in Europe. Dan.
The Belgian health ministry says the number of victims killed has risen from 31 to 35. Terrorism charges have been filed against 3 people arrested. And as Alan Pizzi reports, a video's now been released showing the one man who did not blow himself up at the airport. Earlier, we had only a still photo.
He's suspected of being involved in the attacks on the Brussels airport on March 22nd. Police have got somebody. They're pretty sure that he's the suspect they want, but they can't identify him definitively as being the man in that photo.
A Taliban spokesman in Pakistan says there will be more attacks like the Easter Sunday suicide bombing that killed 70 people in a park until Islamic law governs all of Pakistan. That's the sound of the funeral for one of the Christian victims in Lahore. Charlotte, North Carolina wants to let transgender people use whatever public bathroom they feel aligns with their identity. The state legislature believes that doesn't align with North Carolina values. What's next? CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker is live with the story.
The new law effectively requiring people to use the restroom of the gender they were born with is already being challenged, and the ACLU and gay rights groups have just filed a federal lawsuit arguing the statute is unconstitutional. And it's not just about bathrooms. The new state law also prevents North Carolina's cities and counties from extending anti-discrimination discrimination protections to gay and transgender citizens at restaurants, hotels, and stores. Dan?
Ohio authorities confirm a convicted murderer has escaped from a state prison in Nelsonville. Tino Ramos reports for WBNS-TV.
He has been convicted of murder, robbery, and even an escape, so this could be a second attempt to leave a facility. Right now, the search is very active, still going on.
The convict, 58-year-old John Modi. In March Madness basketball, you never know who'll win. Syracuse upset Virginia to make it to the Final Four this coming weekend. Syracuse will play North Carolina, where Marcus Page is one of the stars.
It's been a long 4 years, but this is what makes it all worth it right here.
The Tar Heels beat Notre Dame. Wall Street, S&P futures up 5 points. This is CBS News.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
This is Charles Osgood. Auto Owners Insurance has been in business since 1916, 3 years before the pop-up toaster was invented. You wouldn't run a breakfast joint without a toaster, so you should never run your business without Auto Owners Insurance. Our independent local agents have been helping their fellow small businesses choose the right coverage. Find your agent at AutoOwners.com. Auto Owners Insurance, doing the right thing since 1916.
In Chattanooga, call the Greater Chattanooga Insurance Group at 423-894-1515.
Possible good news about Palmyra in Syria, a crossroads of ancient civilizations. Amr al-Azam, former government official in charge of museums.
Seems from the early images that we've received, or at least I've seen, that the archaeological site itself has escaped relatively unscathed from as a result of the fighting.
It was feared that ISIS, holding Palmyra for 10 months, had blown up irreplaceable antiquities. A Japanese teenager kidnapped 2 years ago is safe. CBS's Lucy Kraft.
The victim, who has not been identified, was allegedly abducted by engineering student Kabu Terauchi and locked in his apartment about 40 miles from her home outside Tokyo. The girl, now 15, said she occasionally was taken outside by Terauchi, but was too frightened to try to escape. She managed to free herself after he left the door unlocked.
He's now been arrested near a forest with a wound to his throat. Dan Raviv, CBS News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Milkshake.
Five Guys unique delicious milkshakes. I'll have one now.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Swartz 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. The Mike Gallagher Show. He stands for you.
If you want to have an honest dialogue, let's start right here, right now.
Mike pulls no punches.
I'm offended by political correctness.
Mike Gallagher gets you thinking.
Is the whole world gone crazy and I'm the one lone, sane voice in the wilderness?
So, speak your mind.
Liberals live in the bubble. One goes from cradle to grave without hearing a thought other than the liberal. So like any neurosis, the cure happens when you realize you've got it.
This is the Mike Gallagher Highlight Show. Well, hey there. This is the Mike Gallagher Highlight Show from the Barbicel Studio.
1-800-655-MIKE, 1-800-655-6453. I'm Mike Cento in for Mike Gallagher. Mike has taken a couple of days off just to unwind a little bit. He's been going this election year, he's been going at it hot and heavy, and he needs a day off, and I'm here for that. I'll just tell you in advance, I am at the facilities of 98.9 FM, The Answer, in Columbus. About an hour and a half ago, I was laying in bed because I normally do this show from my home studio, and my wife woke up and rolled over and said, hey, guess what? We don't have any internet here. We had major storms went through Ohio last night, and in fact, we just lost a connection here a little while ago. So anyway, we're dealing with storms. We're dealing with me waking up in the middle of a sleep to drive to Columbus. And but you know what? When you're in this business, you're ready for all that stuff. It's happened. I've been doing this, as Mike's told you before. My gosh, started out with him almost 40 years ago, and it wouldn't be a normal week in broadcasting if something like this didn't happen. So, having said that, let's get rocking and rolling on the Mike Gallagher Show. I want to tell you, I have said, I write a column, I do local shows, and I have made the remark that this year, especially, and really not pertaining to any individual, but this year, because of the way Republicans, especially establishment Republicans, are acting, I don't call myself a Republican anymore. I've been a Republican since 1970. I voted in state elections in 1970 as a Republican. I voted for Richard Nixon in 1972. Yes, I said it. I voted for Richard Nixon. But I've got to tell you, this election year, and I've seen some nasty elections. I've seen things where hateful. I sat down in a one-on-one interview in 1980 with George H.W. Bush and talked to him. And he flailed against Ronald Reagan and his voodoo economics. And I said at that time, as many did, there's no way that George Bush could be picked as a running mate because he was one of the last named. On my show, cuts of George W. Bush hammering, or George H.W. Bush hammering Ronald Reagan. But you know what? He was picked. And it was 8 of the most successful years that any of us will probably ever see in Washington with those two. So anything is possible, is my point. However, having said that, the stuff that's going on, and this weekend, it was, I'm not sure there were any other stories going on with everything going on with ISIS around the world, with everything going on in Brussels, with everything going on in Europe. For us to be talking about National Enquirer stories, and he said, who said, they said, I'm telling you, this is some frightening stuff that we're even having to deal with. Let's take a listen right now to this is Ted Cruz calling a National Enquirer infidelity story that he blames on Donald Trump garbage, and he blasts Donald Trump and former Trump political advisor Roger Stone. Here's cut number 1.
Let me be clear. This National Enquirer story is garbage. It is complete and utter lies. It is a tabloid smear. And it is a smear that has come from Donald Trump and his henchmen. It is attacking my family. And what is striking is Donald's henchman, Roger Stone, had for months been foreshadowing that this attack was coming. It's not surprising that Donald Trump's tweet occurs the day before the attack comes out.
And Cruz continued. He blamed Donald Trump and Roger Stone. Cruz said Stone was well known for his political dirty tricks, that he was identified with a vulgar term describing copulating with a rodent.
It is a story
Here's
that
cut
quoted
two.
one source on the record, Roger Stone, Donald Trump's chief political advisor. And I would note that Mr. Stone is a man who has 50 years of dirty tricks behind him. He's a man for whom a term was coined for copulating with a rodent. Well, let me be clear. Donald Trump may be a rat, but I have no desire to copulate with him.
And Trump told ABC's John Carl on Sunday that it was Ted Cruz who brought the wives into this political war.
This started with that Super PAC ad featuring Melania. But in response...
He's very close to the Super PAC, just so you understand. And there's no way in a million years that Super PAC did that without his absolute knowledge. Don't forget, I call him Lion Ted. I call him that because nobody that I've known a lot tougher people over the years in business, but I've never known anybody that lied like Ted Cruz.
What really set Cruz off was when you retweeted that photo, that unflattering photo.
He said to me, and it was a retweet. Now, look, what he did was far worse. I mean, he takes out a thing and sends it to Utah, to the voters of Utah, and it was a cover shoot, and it was, by a big magazine. She was a very, very successful model, big model, and did lots of shoots and lots of cover shoots. And to send that like it was some kind of a bad picture was disgusting to me. I thought it was disgusting. And they put they make me like the bad guy here. I'm just responding to what he does. I counterpunch, but I'm responding to what he does. But always the press likes to make me the bad guy. He's the one that started it. He knew about the picture. He may have even bought the rights to the picture, meaning his campaign. And the Super PAC had it. He's very close to the Super PAC. I didn't start this. He did.
Now, look, I have defended Donald Trump since all the name calling started. I've said that if Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush went up on the podium at the debates and in the campaign itself, if they just said, which I've said for a long time anyway about campaigns, if they just said, here's what I'm going to do, elect me, and here's what I'm going to do. Here's my defense policy. Here's my immigration policy. Here are the things I'm going to do. But when they attack, because normally one candidate attacks another, the other fights back, and it goes. Donald Trump said from the beginning, and I applaud him for that. I really, as a man, I applaud him for that, that if you attack me personally, I would attack tenfold. That's one of the things I think that people like about Donald Trump. That's one of the things I like about Donald Trump, that he doesn't put up with anything. Now, do I think this sounds like an adult campaign for the highest office in the free world? Do I think that it sounds like what we should be talking about and what we should be defending and what we should be criticizing? Absolutely not. But whose fault is it? I hate to jump in the same quicksand.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio 5 Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at 5 Guys Burgers and Fries, 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Enter your guesses now at 5 Guys Burgers and Fries, Route 153 in Hickson. Then listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from 5 Guys Burgers and Fries and Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt
Silver, he's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Fox News Talk 1240. Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Our house in the middle of our street.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Our house in the middle of our street.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
We do the best quality work. We have the best customer service, the most competitive prices around.
Cell Surgeon, a painless operation to fix your sick device.
Well, if you have a cheap charger or something that's not really designed for your phone, it can mess with your battery. It can actually fry your phone. So you need to make sure you have a quality product that's going to be designed for your phone.
Cell Surgeon, your smartphone doctor's in the house at the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
If you charge it in the morning and, by noon, it's at, 50% under normal use. That means your battery's pretty much dead. And once you've reached that point, it starts to deteriorate.
Cell Surgeon, call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com.
We do free estimates. If your phone's not working properly, bring it in when we're happy to take a look at it and diagnose it and see what we think is wrong with it at no charge. Most phone repairs can be done in 30 minutes or less.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
Don't take it in the bathroom. Don't ever put it in your back pocket. And don't charge your phone while you're sleeping.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. That's cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. Cell Surgeon, your smart device doctor is in the house.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business? Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years, a 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock. Call me now, 875-5621.
When pipes drift and rot the floor, Ray sends all leaks straight to the door. To fix my pipes, he sure does plumb. Unclog my John, make shop hum. It's good old Ray, his wrench has fun. 421-6341. Your plumbing's busted, here Ray come. Call 421-6341. In crawl space low, he does yet stoop. Fixing pipe and woe to poop. Ray's the plumber. Call him now. With coin but few, he'll please and how. 421-6341. It's good old Ray, a beam of sun. 421-6341. 421-6341.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Provide all the core features of enterprise firewalls and UTMs, but without hidden costs and deployment hurdles, making owning a big business firewall no big deal for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda Next-Gen Firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/firewalls.
Mike Gallagher.
You know, you only have one identity. Protect it with the best. LifeLock. Go to LifeLock.com and use the promotional code Gallagher just for Mike's listeners and receive a 10% discount. Mike Cento in for Mike Gallagher, taking a little R&R today, and we are here in his stead. Always a pleasure coming to you from the facilities of 98.9 FM, The Answer in Columbus, Ohio. And we're talking about the dirty battles back and forth between Cruz and Trump. Every political campaign has it. It's had it through the centuries. But this one seems to be, and it offends me particularly because it's particularly dirty, particularly nasty, and it's in-house, Republican against Republican. We'll talk about Democrat against Republican coming up in just a few minutes. But right now, let's say hello to James. Welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cento.
Hey, Mike, thanks for taking my call. Hey, I just want to say, yes, I think it's very childish. These are personal attacks. And to be honest with you, I was on the fence between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. I'm a Christian guy. And these attacks started on Donald Trump. And I'm thinking, hey, this Ted Cruz is just like every other politician. That's not what I want. And I have to agree with Donald Trump for fighting back, standing up.
Well, look, and Donald Trump from the beginning, and thanks for calling, James, Donald Trump from the beginning has said, don't mess with me. Don't talk to me. Don't call me names. Don't question anything that I've done, or you're going to get it back tenfold. He said that from the beginning. He's always stood by that, and I have no problem with it at all. Now, I don't like where this is going, but he is just defending himself. David, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cento. Hi.
Hi. I agree with Ted Cruz. I've done a little research on the Trump campaign and who's actually behind it, the top men. One of the current top, there are three involved who are very dirty, and a few more. Lewinsky, the campaign director, Steve Cohen, and Roger Stone. Now, what all three of these guys have in common is that they also work very closely with Israel, the Israeli political machine, the Likud party. All three of them are Jewish American. Roger Stone is one of the nastiest persons that has ever worked in politics. And if you do a little research on the Trump,
but you're making an assumption based on what the media is telling you. You're basing an assumption that Stone and the others are behind this when you don't know. You're doing exactly what Ted Cruz is doing. You're making assumptions, and you can't do that. Steve, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cento. Hi.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother.
I just got to comment. This is all fair game. I mean, sure, the Republicans are acting like the Democrats always do, and they're just learning how to fight. But when the dust settles... Hang
on. And I'm saying this about Trump and Cruz in this particular case, or not Trump and Cruz, about somebody outside their campaign or inside, whichever. But I'm going to tell you something. Whether I'm running for the office of the presidency, or I'm running for the Parent Teachers Association in my community, or dog catcher, if you say something about my wife or kids, you will never, ever hear the end of it. You don't bring them in. No, that's not fair game to talk about somebody's family, especially in the nasty way that this is being done.
Okay, when the dust settles, what this is is a campaign and an election against an ideology. I would rather have that stuff go on than to sit and have a Democrat lie to me 24/7. Now that is, to me, is unprecedented.
But isn't there a way to have both? To get rid of the Democrats, the lying Democrats, but not have to drag each other and your families through the mud to do it? Are we not mature enough? Look, I've always felt like, as a Republican, as a conservative, that we have better family values, better morals, and I see that, and I preach that on the radio and in the newspaper column. But now we're acting worse than Democrats with this garbage.
I agree with you. I mean, it's not something that you ideally want to have. However, the Democrats aren't going to pull any punches. It's time we start fighting like they did.
Well, and in fact, it's funny you said Democrats aren't going to pull any punches, because in just a moment, we're going to hear from John Kerry and his observation on what all this fighting back and forth does or says to world leaders. But are their hands clean on the Democratic side? That's coming up.
Now who's really the fool? When I first found out, I heard all over.
I love traveling around the country and meeting listeners. I'm not real fond of leaving my bed because I've gotten so attached to my Luxy mattress. The Luxy mattress gives you perfect body alignment. This mattress and this company, Luxy, it's an American-made father-daughter-owned company. The Luxy mattress was named first in their performance mattress category by SleepSherpa.com and first overall out of 23 competitors reviewed. Now, you order online, you decide the level of comfort when you get the bed, because it'll be soft, medium, or firm. You and your partner can have different levels of comfort. Go to LuxySleep.com. That's Luxi, LuxySleep.com. $9.99 for a queen, but when you use the promo code Mike, you'll get $125 off the bed. It's a great bed, a great company, Luxy Sleep, terrific customer service. Go to LuxySleep.com. Don't forget to use the promo code Mike, so you get $125 off any bed you order, or call them 888-813-2944. Toll free 888-813-2944 for the Luxy bed.
Mike Gallagher.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-720-3423. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-720-3423. That's 1-800-720-3423.
American Financing, NMLS 18233.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. 2 missing Tennesseans now confirmed dead in Brussels following a terrorist attack at a metro station and at an airport. Justin Schultz and his wife Stephanie have now been identified among those killed in those terror attacks in Brussels. Senator Corker's office released a statement saying, in part, we're heartbroken by the tragic loss of Justin and Stephanie Schultz in the terror attacks in Brussels. To their family members and to all who love them, we offer our prayers and deepest sympathies as we mourn their passing. We also extend condolences to all the families who lost loved ones and to the people of Belgium. Police say a man had 10 pounds of meth on his person when he was arrested by agents at an arranged drug deal in Bradley County last Monday. When those federal agents arrested him, he also had MDMA on his person, according to the affidavit. And in Georgia, a 50-mile police chase came to an end with a pit maneuver from Cartersville to Dalton following the theft of a newspaper delivery truck. The suspect was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the officer is okay. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Swartz Heen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
70% off Rick Davis whole door sale. Gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis pays you cash personally. Cash, and more cash. Rick Davis has got the cash and incredible deals at 70% off gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis on Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. 70% off Rick Davis whole door sale. Gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds. Rick Davis pays you cash personally. Rick Davis on Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, and more cash.
What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here, Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. MLS 239. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Use promo code Gallagher. That's promo code Gallagher at MikeOnline.com and receive a special 10% discount exclusively for Mike's listeners. Mike Cento in for Mike Gallagher, and we're talking about the nasty in-the-gutter battle back and forth between Republicans, but Democrats would like to have you, Democrats like John Kerry, would like to have you think that they are so pure, they are so lily white, they are so clean. I want you to listen right now to this cut of John Kerry talking about what this battle among Republicans is how it's affecting world leaders. Listen to this.
In response to the Brussels bombing from Republicans, we've gotten a series of things. More talk about banning Muslim immigrants, boarding. As you deal with people overseas, is that seen as the circus of campaigning, or is there any way in which that rhetoric has any effect overseas?
Everywhere I go, every leader I meet, they ask about what is happening in America. They cannot believe it. I think it is fair to say that they're shocked. They don't know where it's taking the United States of America. It upsets people's sense of equilibrium about our steadiness, about our reliability. And to some degree, I must say to you, some of the questions, the way they pose to me, it's clear to me that what's happening is an embarrassment to our country.
What about the embarrassment? Mr. Kerry, you're not a leader. This administration is not a leader. The United States, and I agree with Donald Trump on this, is not a leader today. We used to be, at one time we were, But we're not looked up to as leaders, and it's not because of the Republican battle. Don't get me wrong, I'm criticizing the Republican battle myself, but it's not because of that. It's because of your stinking leadership. Yours and Mr. Obama's stinking leadership. So don't be holier than thou and blame this Republican infighting, which, by the way, remember back in 2012, didn't they interview Mitt Romney's garbage man, among other things? I mean, the Democrats did, to bring Mitt Romney down. So don't pretend that you have no dirt on your hands, and don't pretend that world leaders are looking down at America because of this Republican battle. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but let's look at whose fault it really is. Irene, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cento. Hi.
Mr. Cento, I'd like to express what I hacks. Campaigns and candidates under federal law have absolutely no communication with super PACs, whether a super PAC is supporting them directly or a super PAC is against another candidate. So
okay, let me give you my take on that, okay? And I've argued the same point for years. You're absolutely right, and Mark Levin is absolutely correct in saying that. However, he or listeners or anybody else is naive if they don't think that if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump did not like or did not believe that what that super PAC was running was in fact either in good taste or ethical or anything else. If they didn't believe that, don't think for a second they are not powerful enough behind the scenes to slip a note to somebody to say, take it down. Because I guarantee they are. They may not be able to do it directly, and they may not have any say or input directly, but they can have it stopped.
Well, I don't think they can. And to give you another example, when John Kasich was doing town halls, and I've been to 3 of John Kasich's town halls in the Detroit area, a young man approached him and just cried his heart out with everything that was happening in his personal life, parents getting divorced, a good friend dying, and he found his candidate in John Kasich. And John Kasich, I was there, gave this young man a hug. Well, that was filmed, and that went viral, and somebody created an ad, a super PAC created an ad to show the soft side of John Kasich, and he was questioned about it on Fox News, and I think it was Megyn Kelly played it, and he said, I don't approve of it, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, listen, I absolutely understand. First of all, the nature of that ad, and I've seen it, and in fact, I'm sitting just, you could almost walk to the governor's mansion here in Ohio, where I'm sitting right now. But there's a difference between that and the nasty, pictures of and claims about one's wife. Those things are different, and those kinds of ads are different. And I absolutely guarantee you, and I may take it to my grave and be wrong, but I guarantee you, I believe these powerful candidates and their teams could stop these ads if, in fact, they wanted to. I absolutely believe they could. I don't think they're necessarily behind them. I don't think they had anything to do with it, but they, I think, could stop them. John, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cento. Hi.
Mike, you're doing a great job. Greetings from St. Louis.
Thank you. Greetings from Ohio.
Yes, thank you. By the way, as Mr. Gallagher has anyway, I will support whoever the Republican nominee is. I've been, as you have been, disillusioned with the establishment, and I'm more or less now saying I'm a conservative independent as well rather than Republican, because I'm sick of these establishment types and these rhinos, and and instead of getting behind a candidate like Mr. Trump and seeing this all the way to the election and his becoming president, they want to destroy their own party. And that's
exactly what they're going to do. And in fact, in just a moment, after we talk to a couple of the folks, we're gonna talk about the very thing you're saying, and this pledge that the candidates are supposed to make to back the nominee. I don't think there needs to be a pledge. I don't think Trump needed to make one. I don't think the other candidates need to. I think that's a creation of the media and media hype. But I think as a Republican, if you are a loyal Republican, you're always going to do what's best. Because let me tell you something. Whoever gets elected, whoever the nominee is, it's going to be easier to work with them. Donald Trump, if you think Donald Trump is hard to work, I promise you it's going to be easier to work with him than socialist Bernie or Hillary Clinton. And I promise you, if they get into office, it may not be the candidate you wanted, but maybe it's the candidate the rank and file voters in the Republican Party want. Do you think? And isn't that important? Johnny, welcome to the Mike. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. I'm Mike Cinto.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, Johnny, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you? It was reported from another conservative talk show host that it was from a Stop Trump super PAC, not a Ted Cruz super PAC.
Oh, and I don't doubt that. And listen, that's part of my criticism. And if I didn't, illuminate that a little bit more in my, I think these Republican-backed, establishment Republican-backed Stop Trump, I think that movement is absolutely disgusting. And that's one of the reasons I find it hard to call myself a Republican anymore. I call myself a conservative. I was proud to say Republican. I find it embarrassing this year to be a Republican.
I agree. I couldn't agree.
Unless they mature and something changes, did you ever see the movie Back to the Future? Any of that series of movies?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. You know the one where they're in the last one where they're, when you cross this line on the train, you better be going 88 miles an hour to go back. But once you pass that, there's no turning back. They're getting close, I think, to the point of no turning back for Republicans, that even backing Trump or whoever the nominee is won't make a difference, because they'll have already destroyed the party that you and I knew and grew up with is already gone. Mike, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. Hi.
Hi, Mike. Pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks. Nice to talk to you.
Mike, I just wanted to comment about the John Kerry soundbite that you just played.
Yes.
Least we forget when he went in front of Congress and talked about the atrocities, alleged atrocities that our soldiers in Vietnam committed. What kind of light was he putting the United States in when he made those comments?
Jane Fonda light.
Battle across the anti-aircraft gun. Yes.
Yep. Exactly. And I applaud John Kerry for his service, because I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I applaud him. But that's as far as it goes. I certainly don't support the things he said, done, or how he represented his service in what he did. In just a moment, we're going to find out if Ted Cruz, we're going to hear if Ted Cruz is still planning to back that loyalty pledge he made. And maybe John Kasich, too. That's coming up as the Mike Gallagher Show continues. I'm Mike Cinto, sitting in, coming to you from the studios of 98.9 FM, The Answer, in beautiful Columbus, Ohio.
Girl, you're getting that look in your eyes, and it's starting to worry me.
I love telling you about real life angels here on earth. There are angels among us. And as far as I'm concerned, the experienced, compassionate caregivers from Visiting Angels fit that category perfectly. Do you have a loved one who's a senior who wants to stay in their own comfortable surroundings? They love the home they're in, but they need some extra help. They need some care. They need somebody to run errands or do some light housework or cooking or just being with them anywhere from a few hours a day up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, that's where Visiting Angels comes in. These are experienced, compassionate caregivers, and they're so good. They're so reliable.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad. Jet's Pizza at Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
Sign up today. You want to take these classes. 50% off. Limited time offer. 50% off of all classes at P5 Preparedness. Space is limited. Sign up today. 50% off of all of their classes at P5 Preparedness.
P5 Preparedness on East Brainerd between Gun Barrel and I-75. Look for the Green Army truck. 423-602-2175. Look for us on Facebook.
Chattanooga Patriots Prepper Show every Thursday from 11 to noon on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
We're going to kill them all. We're going to kill them all. Let them cough. Let them wheeze. Let them sneeze. We're going to kill every one of them.
We're going to stop you dead in your tracks. Black mold has been known to mimic ailments such as asthma, emphysema, and other ailments that affect the well-being of your body. Black mold is the silent killer. Fight back today with a free estimate from PuroClean. The paramedics of property damage is PuroClean. Call 875-6136 for your free inspection and estimate today. And no, bleach does not kill mold. In fact, bleach is primarily made up of water and adds more moisture to your mold. The mold experts at PuroClean use proven products and state-of-the-art science equipment. They'll remove all traces of that deadly killer black mold. Call PuroClean now at 875-6136. Plus, your homeowner's insurance may cover it. Call PuroClean today at 875-6136.
We're going to kill every one of them.
Not if PuroClean has anything to do with it. Call PuroClean today at 875-6136.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
We do the best quality work. We have the best customer service, the most competitive prices around.
Cell Surgeon, a painless operation to fix your sick device.
Well, if you have a cheap charger or something that's not really designed for your phone, it can mess with your battery. It can actually fry your phone. So you need to make sure you have a quality product that's going to be designed for your phone.
Cell Surgeon, your smartphone doctor's in the house at the Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
You charge it in the morning and, by noon it's at, 50% under normal use. That means your battery's pretty much dead. And once you've reached that point, it starts to deteriorate.
Cell Surgeon, call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com.
We do free estimates. If your phone's not working properly, bring it in when we're happy to take a look at it and diagnose it and see what we think is wrong with it at no charge. Most phone repairs can be done in 30 minutes or less.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza.
Don't take it in the bathroom. Don't ever put it in your back pocket. And don't charge your phone while you're sleeping.
Cell Surgeon, an affordable quick fix for your smartphone and tablet in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Call 423-668-0100 or go to cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. That's cellphonerepairchattanooga.com. Cell Surgeon, your smart device doctor is in the house.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Off for executive action. Well, Barry Obama sure tries. Can the U.S. Senate put a hold on nominees to the Supreme Court? Can Obamacare truly be repealed and replaced or overruled? And can the EPA and other government agencies create rules that effectively act as a tax on the American people? Or is that solely the prerogative of Congress? Learn how the progressive agenda is thwarting the Constitution at almost every turn and what we can do to stop it. Tune in each week during the second hour of the Mike Gallagher Show for the Hillsdale Spotlight. To enroll in an online course on public policy, go to hillsdalespotlight.com. That's hillsdalespotlight.com. All right, what does Ted Cruz? We talked earlier about the whole the battle between the parties, the battles that we are experiencing. What does Ted Cruz say about the loyalty pledge? Can he ultimately back? And Kasich made the same pledge. Can Ted Cruz, back Donald Trump if he's the nominee? Well, he's clearly backing off his loyalty pledge to support the GOP if it turns out to be Donald Trump. Listen to this. Cut 4.
Donald is fond of giving people nicknames. With this pattern, he should not be surprised to see people calling him Sleazy Donald.
So yes or no, will you vote for him?
I will say this. I don't make a habit out of supporting people who attack my wife and attack my family. And Donald Trump is not going to be the Republican nominee.
And John Kasich, our own governor here in Ohio, seems to be backing off his loyalty pledge, too, on Meet the Press. Here's what he had to say.
You still are committed to supporting Donald Trump if he's a nominee? We're going to look at it every single day, and we'll see what happens. When we got a long way to go, and I don't want to project that he's going to be the nominee. I don't think he will be. And if he is, I review it every day.
I was just going to say, it sounds like it's more hesitance every day.
I said what I said, Chuck, and I'm done talking about this subject.
Look, I have never, since that first debate, when Brett Baer, asked Donald Trump or asked everybody to raise their hand, to me, it's nobody's business. And I think that actually compounded this whole problem in the Republican Party. It's nobody's business who is or who is not supported by I think common sense says if you're loyal to the party that you will in fact support the nominee. But should you have to make a pledge? If somebody asked me, they know I'm a Republican. I've said it on the air for years, for 4 decades. If somebody asked me going into the voting booth, are you going to vote for a Republican? You always talk about your Republican. You're going to vote for a Republican. I say it's none of your business. That's one of the things about voting. It's one of the things about who somebody supports. That's my right. That's my choice. You don't have a right to know. You don't have a right to. The media, including Fox News, has tried to take over and control these candidates. And I think, in fact, create controversy where maybe it wouldn't otherwise exist. Do I think the Republican candidates or the Democrats, for that matter, but I don't really care what they do, should support the candidate from their own party, especially this year when we started out with 17 in the, should they support those candidates? I think from a common sense and a practical standpoint, they should. But do I have a right as a voter, as a Republican myself, and again, I use that term loosely this year, do I have a right to know who John Kasich is going to support for president? Do I have a right to know who Ted Cruz, and if I detect in their speeches that they may not be supporting them, do I have a right to call them on the carpet for that? Isn't this America? Isn't what this is all about? We get to choose who we're going to support. And if Kasich and Cruz decide to say I'm supporting Donald Trump, that's great. But if Kasich and Cruz decide not to and decide not to say who they're supporting, that's what this is all about. I fought for my country. I'm a disabled veteran. And I fought for the right for them not to have to say who they're. It's a creation of the media trying to cause controversy. And I'm saying the mainstream media and also conservative media, it's nobody's business. This whole pledge thing is so ridiculous. And making stories out of it is so ridiculous. It's frightening what this race has become. And again, this is 40 years of doing this. And this is the worst I've seen, and unfortunately, on the Republican side. And it may be doing terrible damage, irreparable damage to the Republican Party as we knew it. Where do you fall on the anti-vaccine debate? I guarantee you're on one side or the other. Find out what Robert De Niro did at one of his film festivals. You won't believe it. Coming up on the Mike Gallagher Show.
You know, everybody's buying stuff online now, right? You know how big the Whole Foods kind of stores are. Well, you could sell these same products online at much less a price than people have to pay in the brick and mortar stores. It's a business opportunity where everything is done for you. Everything. You just use your resources or social media or contacts to direct people to your own site. They do everything else. They provide the website, they ship the product, they do the order fulfillment, they provide the exceptional customer service. All I ask is that you go to healthmerchant.net. Now that's a .net, healthmerchant.net. Go to the drop-down box, click on my name, Mike Gallagher, and watch the video that could change your life forever. Good income, at home, second income, primary, you decide. Just check out this business opportunity. A few minutes of looking at this video could change your life. Healthmerchant.net. Don't forget that's a net. Healthmerchant.net. Go to the drop-down box, click my name, Mike Gallagher.
You think that you're rescuing them, but honestly, they're going to end up rescuing you. You don't know what they've gone through. And they're not going to be perfect.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio 5 Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at 5 Guys Burgers and Fries, 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Enter your guesses now at 5 Guys Burgers and Fries, Route 153 in Hickson. Then listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from 5 Guys Burgers and Fries and Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR. Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Source Heen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin
You give us
Cowherd.
12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News, I'm Dan Raviv. The city of Charlotte passed an ordinance to allow transgender people to use restrooms aligned with what they consider their gender identity. But the North Carolina legislature passed a law in effect reversing that. You must use the public toilet matching the sex on your birth certificate. Now in Raleigh federal court, an attempt to block that by 2 transgender people and others.
Several groups, including the American Civil Liberties Union, are announcing the filing of a federal lawsuit challenging the new law. The Republican-controlled North Carolina legislature quickly approved a law that prevents all cities and counties from passing anti-discrimination measures. Many companies with a presence in the state issued statements sharply criticizing the action. Jim Crisula, CBS News, Greensboro, North Carolina.
In Washington, D.C., the Supreme Court has rejected likely the final appeal by former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. He had hoped to reverse his conviction on corruption charges. He's serving a 14-year sentence. The State Department says it now knows of 4 U.S. citizens killed by suicide bombers last Tuesday in Brussels. President Obama phoned relatives of Justin and Stephanie Schultz. The other 2 victims are not yet being named. In Belgium's capital, CBS's Alan Pizzi reports police raids led to terrorism charges against 3 people. Also in neighboring countries, more ISIS cells.
There were some suspects arrested in the Netherlands, and they all appear to have connections to plots ongoing for Paris and some perhaps for Brussels, but certainly for Paris, and connections to the Paris attacks in November and the bombings here last week.
In Pakistan, after 70 people were killed and 300 wounded by an Easter Sunday suicide bomber, the Taliban says the attacks will continue until Islamic law governs the country. One survivor heard through an interpreter.
I carried 20 children to be taken to hospital. I moved 3 bodies to a police car. At the time of the blast, the children were taking rides at the fairground.
Syria's army says it has liberated Palmyra. Were the precious antiquities there all destroyed by ISIS? Heritage analyst Nigel Hetherington says experts will take a look.
They need to get on the ground to see what's happened. But that's where as well the danger lies, because the site may be booby-trapped.
To say the least, Syracuse University is immensely proud of its basketball team, including guard Trevor Cooney, after the upset win over Virginia to get to the Final Four.
We're sticking together, we're believing in each other, and good things happen when you do that.
Virginia this coming Saturday will play North Carolina, which beat Notre Dame as was widely expected. Starwood Hotel says it's gotten another buyout offer. Marriott said it would pay $14.4 billion. A Chinese group now raises its bid to $15 billion. So Starwood shares are higher, and the Dow Jones Industrials average up by about 16 points. This is CBS News.
Loan is a 15-year fixed-rate loan with a 1-0 lender-paid buyout. Reduced payment valid only during the first 12 months. The monthly payment during the first 12 months of your loan is based on a rate that is 1% lower than your interest rate for this loan program. Not all applicants will qualify. Rates and terms subject to change. NMLS 6606 Equal Housing Lender. Call 888-369-6455 for licensing information.
Introducing a 15-year fixed-rate loan with a fixed payment rate in year 1 at only 1.99%. I'm Rick Arviello, CEO of New American Funding, and I'm proud to announce a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage at only 2.99% interest rate, 2.91 APR, with the first full year's payment at only 1.99% fixed payment rate. Pay off your loan in 15 years and save tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary mortgage payments. 1.99% fixed payment rate in year 1 and 2.99% fixed for the remaining term, 2.91% APR for a purchase or refinance.
Call New American Funding today at 800-963-4933. That's 800-963-4933. 800-963-4933. Or visit newamericanfunding.com today.
Robert De Niro has decided at his Tribeca Film Festival in New York not to show a documentary claiming autism can be caused by a vaccine most babies get.
After the vaccine, he was no longer able to do that.
Vaxxed was made by Andrew Wakefield. He lost his medical license in Britain after his research linking autism to the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine was discredited. De Niro has an autistic child and had said he wanted to spark constructive dialogue. But after hearing from medical experts, he says he now believes this isn't the film to do that. The filmmakers accused De Niro of caving in to corporate interests. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Facebook is apologizing to users who received a question from the company asking if they're okay after the bomb in Lahore, Pakistan, that killed 70 people yesterday. Facebook's feature called Safety Check was activated, but it should have asked users only in Pakistan, not everywhere. Dan Raviv, CBS News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Five Guys unique delicious milkshakes. I'll have one now.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect drier weather for your Monday with decreasing clouds later on, becoming breezy, highs near 65. Tonight, clear, chilly overnight, lows into the lower 40s. A beautiful day Tuesday, lots of sunshine, highs upper 60s, 70 to 72 on Wednesday. This forecast is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, introducing their Speed Perks Rewards program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense at Advance. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd, right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is your total information source, The Mike Gallagher Show. The news is happening now, and we keep you connected to the headlines like no one else. And now, sitting in for Mike today, here's Mike Cinto.
All right, thank you very much, Peter Reif, coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, the home of John Kasich, the next vice president of the United States. Well, not just speculation there. In fact, we're not far from the governor's mansion where we're sitting right now. I am not Mike Gallagher, by the way. I'm Mike Cinto. As Peter told you, sitting in for Mike, who's taking a little R&R today. Well-deserved, and I get to be here with you talking about all the things in the world that make a difference. I'm a parent, and I would venture to say that whether you're parenting now or have parented at one point, the vast majority of people listening to this show right now are, in fact, parents themselves. Again, once a parent, always a parent. I have, and having done radio talk shows for 40 years, especially in the last decade or last 15 years, I've talked a lot about whether to vaccinate or not to vaccinate your kids. You know, and we can actually broaden that to whether or not you should get vaccines either as adults. And we may throw that in the mix a little bit later, but right now I want to focus on kids. And I was talking to, I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag here. I was talking to Lance, our producer, earlier, and I think, Lance, you said all your kids were vaccinated. All of mine were. I am not, there's the vax crowd and the anti-vax crowd. And as those who do this for a living, either on the air or behind the scenes, talking about this on a radio show, there is very little question that the extremes on both sides, always get vaccinated or go to jail, or never get vaccinated because you'll die. There are extremes on both sides of this argument. There's very little gray. It's kind of like, over the years, I don't talk much about abortion. I'm anti-abortion, and I've got my reasons for it, and I'm pretty much hardline anti-abortion. But it's one of those things, if you want to get on the radio and have a ping pong match back and forth, you talk about abortion. You're not going to change anybody's mind, and you know that the serves from each side will be very swift. Kind of the same thing with vaccinations and anti-vaccinations. I would never have dreamt of not getting my child vaccinated. I understand the arguments on autism, which have been debunked. So although anti-vaccination people won't say they were debunked, but let me share the story that made me want to talk about this today. Facing a storm of criticism over its plans to show a documentary about the widely debunked link between vaccines and autism, the Tribeca Film Festival on Saturday pulled the film from its schedule next month. In a statement, Robert De Niro, who founded the festival, wrote, "My intent in screening this film was to provide an opportunity for conversation around an issue that is deeply personal to me and my family. But after reviewing it over the past few days with the Tribeca Film Festival team and others from the scientific community, we do not believe it contributes to or furthers the discussion I had hoped for." The film, Vaxxed, From Cover-Up to Catastrophe, was directed and co-written by Andrew Wakefield, the author of a study that was published in the British medical journal, The Lancet, and then retracted in 2010. Mr. Wakefield's medical license was revoked over his failure to disclose financial which really has nothing to do with it. But this is a huge, if you ever are, as a talk show host, sitting down behind a microphone, and it's one of those days where there's nothing going on in the world, nothing like this film festival, but you try to think of, you go to, I think Lance calls them evergreens, topics that are always hot. Say, should I vaccinate my kids? The phone lines will light from here until a week from Thursday, with people screaming at you one way or the other. Now, I have, like I said, I'm very firm in my resolve that we got our kids vaccinated. It was good for them. There's a radio show in another market here in Ohio, hosted by doctors, quote unquote, and I call it Quack to Health. And they say, that their kids have never been vaccinated. They never will be. Of course, they go to the extreme. They don't take antibiotics. They don't take anything. They let nature cure everything. And they say, don't get your kids vaccinated. It's in essence child abuse. I think it's child abuse not to get, but that's just me. I think it's child abuse not to get them vaccinated. I've known parents who have kids with severe autism, some who didn't go that route. They did not get their kids vaccinated, and their kids have autism. In that same community, another child and these kids did receive their vaccinations, and they have almost the same degree of autism. I'm always going to err, because I'm not a scientist. I skipped medical school. But the question is, do people have a right to see a film, a documentary like that, and make their own decision? Isn't that what filmmaking is about? Isn't that what film festivals are about? Which is what Robert De Niro alluded to before he decided to yank it. He wanted it to be exposed, people to be exposed. That's what film festivals are about. You don't have to believe them all. You can based on the facts that they present in that film, you can either leave and go do some more research. You can buy it. You can say that was a load of horse manure. You don't have to believe it. But doesn't that go against everything Robert De Niro, as an actor and a producer and a director, doesn't that go against, and a founder of a film festival, doesn't that go against everything that he's always represented? About allowing us to make our own decisions, allowing that word to get out there, allowing those expressions to be made. So obviously we have several questions for you out there, and we're going to take your calls in a moment. But the big issue, the big question is, should this have been pulled? Do you think that it was a wise decision for Robert De Niro and the festival to pull this film? Or do you think the people going to this film festival had a right to indeed check this out? What do you think? I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing the question out to you. And if you want, I'm sure we're not going to be able to get away without saying how you feel about vaccinating kids or getting back. I mean, this same group of so-called doctors tell senior citizens who are very susceptible to disease with pre-existing conditions not to get flu shots because it'll kill them. I just think they're nuts. But
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio Five Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Enter your guesses now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, Route 153 in Hickson. Then listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Five Guys Burgers and Fries and Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Hot News Talk 1240. Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Our house in the middle of our street.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty.